All right, so here we are at the transmission. After thinking through this a little bit further, there's not a lot of movement to get this inner race off. You really need to be able to move, in this case, the input shaft and that inner race. You know, with all the ball bearings piled at the bottom, I would need to be able to lift this up enough to then pull the ball bearings out of the bottom, get them out of the way, then try to heat up this inner race, pull the inner race out this way if it will come out, all while not damaging this inner seal back here, and then put the new race on without pushing that inner seal into the transmission, which I then would not be able to get to. It would be stuck inside of the transmission. So I think risk reward is going to be just having some grease in here to hold these balls in place, something like this right here, and snap this plastic cage on, make sure that there's plenty of grease inside of here, and put the outer cover on, and you know, it'll live as long as it's going to live. So this is the inner plastic cage that goes on that bearing that we took off the other one. This was my plan originally, was to just try to put one of these cages on there. Then we got in here and saw the race was messed up a little bit and started trying to overthink the process. I mean, it's just an older car. It's got other issues besides this. We're just trying to keep it going as long as we can to give him some time to save some money, and you know, just trying to do what I can for him. So you want to try to push this on there as flat as possible, not at an angle, because then you stand a better chance of, you know, breaking it in one of these thinner points. So I've got a large socket, so a 1 11/16 socket. Any socket would do, doesn't matter the size, just something that's going to fit about the same size so you can push evenly. I'm hoping I can just push it on there by hand and not have to tap it with a hammer. A nice smooth steady push would probably get it on there safer than trying to tap this with a hammer, and you know, the shock of the plastic, especially it's a little cold outside, the plastic's cold, would stand a higher chance of it breaking. So hopefully I can, you know, get the balls lined up on here, and really doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. So it looks like they're all lined up right there. If you just kind of turn it a little bit, they kind of seem to settle into place. Got one up here that's not lined up, so stick a little screwdriver in here, move that one up, and you can see it's all the balls are lined up in their little pockets. So let's see if this will snap on there. And just like that, it's on. That actually went quite smoothly. So I think I'm gonna pack a little bit more grease inside of here just to make sure this bearing has as much grease as possible. The transmission itself doesn't hold a lot of oil. I believe Volkswagen says the capacity, it's like 75 140 weight gear oil, and the capacity is only like 1 quart. So gear oil is definitely sitting down below this. This is not a partially submerged bearing, so it's really relying on the grease that's in here to keep itself lubricated. The oil slinging around inside the transmission is spinning in this direction. It's not spinning this way, which would sling oil towards this bearing to help it out. So I'm going to pack a little bit more grease in there, and then put the cover on, and you know, it's going to be what it is. Alright, so I used some Lucas Red and Tacky number 2 multi-purpose greased. Says fortified with anti-seize, which may help the area that's kind of scarred up. I don't know. Yeah, it's, like I said, it's my son's first car. He's had it for a couple years. He's wanting a new car, or another car anyway. So just trying to limp this one along a little bit longer and let him get some money saved up, and then, you know, we'll move on to the next vehicle. But the cover from Volkswagen is this one here. Actually pops right on here. Going this route, just popping that plastic cage on, I was able to not worry or damage the inner seal at all. That black plastic or rubber seal that I showed you from the inside, I didn't damage that at all. So all of this grease right here should stay within this bearing and not leak out into the transmission, and give it the best chance to make it. So we'll go ahead and tap this on and wipe this edge down, and that will be it. Well, there you have it. New plastic cage put on there, packed it with grease, put that cover on. I'm gonna stop this video for a second. I'll go ahead and, I don't know if he left his key in the car or not, but start it up and see how much noise this is making, and let you know if it seemed to help or not. Well, that's it running. Significantly quieter. I'm sure that if I was able to replace that inner race, I can still hear a little bit of noise now, so if I was able to replace that inner race, probably would have been that much better. But it's extremely quiet compared to what it was. It'll do him fine for getting around town. I hope this helps somebody. You know, most of the time the videos on YouTube show that bearing just having some play in it, and people are pulling this cover off, removing the outer snap ring, putting a little shim kit in there, the snap ring back on, and then this cover on. Ours, it had kicked this cover off, and the plastic race had come out, and as you saw, the ball bearings were just all over the place. So if that happens to you, you know, this was one option. Really, the only thing we had to remove was the tire. I removed the inner fender just to make it easier to try to videotape this to help somebody out. You don't have to remove the inner fender. If you do want to make it easier for yourself, there's like 8 to 10 just little T25 Torx bit screws. It's extremely easy to remove. For me, it was just easier to remove it, get it out of the way, and give myself a little bit more room to see. I hope this helps somebody. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll try to reply to all of them. Have a good one.